Hello and welcome to the sixth episode of the Super Fun Podcast. Getting close on 10. This is going to be fun. We got an awesome cast today, and rather than tell you their names, I'm just going to say, how you doing, Ezio?
I'm doing good. How about you, Groot?
I'm doing extremely well. How about you, AP?
I am right in between those two extremes, and I'm good. I'm awesome. I'm spectacular. Is that in between, or is that too much?
That's good.
Good enough.
Fine.
Oh, I'm so awesome. Thank you for asking.
I'm happy we asked.
So we actually got a lot of different topics to cover today, and rather than go super deep into any particular one, we're gonna kind of jump from a bunch of different games, as well as a few games that have been rumored, as well as a few pretty big things that are happening in the gaming community as a whole. Just for you listening, so you know, we're gonna talk a little bit about Destiny, the meta for Dark Souls 3 right now, the Division, and our interest level. The rumored games we're going to talk about: Battlefield 5, Call of Duty 4 Remastered, and Infinite Warfare. We're also going to
Yay
talk
and
about
boo.
yeah, indeed. We're going to talk about Lionhead Studios closing and how broken our hearts are because of that. And we're going to go into something pretty significant that's happening with the World of Warcraft community right now. But before we go all the way through that list, let's start at the very top. Destiny. What are you guys thinking about Iron Banner post-April update?
I'm thinking it's much better than it used to be. I actually feel like I'm doing something with it.
Okay.
As well. I feel like it's more balanced in terms of all the guns and such.
Hmm. So it's not just Hawksaws and.
Yeah,
No, it is.
exactly.
It still is.
I mean,
Well,
there's still a lot of people using it, but I'm seeing a
I mean,
diverse amount of weapons in the games that I'm playing.
yeah, but the fact that the Crucible is selling the God Roll Hawksaw
oh, it's so
isn't helping
good.
anything. I need to buy it at some point, but I'm saving up my legendary marks for that Hakon's hatchet.
Dude, honestly, don't even bother. I picked it up. It's okay. Like,
It's okay.
in fact, I recommend go to Planet Destiny and check out True
I did.
Vanguard's review of it.
I did.
Yeah, it's like I picked it up and I thought maybe it's user error. Like maybe I just suck with mid rate of fire auto rifles, but it gets outplayed by other weapons at a similar range.
I guess I'll stick with my Aegis of the Reef then.
Dude, get the Hawksaw. I'm telling you, man, it's so
I
good.
am. I am going to. Don't worry. I'm getting that. I finished buying the Vacancy, which, by the way, is amazing.
Ooh, yeah, it is.
Well, I do want to
I-
say, I want to say one thing. Guilty as charged. I still haven't picked up the Hawksar, which I will.
Yeah, you better before we play Trials tonight.
Mm-hmm. Dang straight.
All right. So we got lots of speaking of loot. How you guys feeling about the loot drops?
I don't know. I'm
They-
level 1 still.
Well, that doesn't matter. You can get them at rank 0.
Well, you know what? I haven't gotten them yet, so I'm not feeling special and included yet. So once I start getting them, I'll feel good.
Dude.
Okay, so I guess I'll vote on that because I've gotten to rank 2 because I played in the first couple of days, and everyone knows that those first couple of days are the worst days ever to play on.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting. I'm probably gonna hop on a little bit tonight and play, maybe a bit more tomorrow, and I'm gonna just use those gold those gold bounties and just rank up immediately.
Yeah. It's the way to do it, man. Especially on your alternate characters.
Yeah.
I actually don't know if I'm gonna hop on my alternate characters this time. I'm just kind of hopping on and off every
Yeah.
so often.
I'm thinking more or less like I've got gear that I like right now, and essentially if I just keep playing on my warlock, essentially my belief is I'll just get 330s and higher at some point, and if I really don't want to use them on my warlock, I can just infuse them into other gears on my other alts.
Yeah, I've been using all the drops I've been getting for infusion fuel because I've been
Mhm.
getting 333s to 335s.
Yep.
I got my not my Defiance, the Raid Scout Rifle up to 335 because I got a 335 Hakon's hatchet from a drop.
Not bad. Can't beat that.
It is very nice.
I'm still sitting at the 317, 318 average light mark, but I did just move. So
Yeah.
Yep.
You've been real
Yeah,
busy.
you've been busy. You haven't been able to get on, so you're forgiven for that.
exactly. Well, thank you. I accept your forgiveness.
Me on the other hand, that first week I went ham with the update. All my characters can hit 330, and my warlock can hit 332.
Oh,
Well-
you're much higher than I am.
I did not go quite as ham as you, but today I can get my hunter up to 333, despite the fact that I'm being held back by 324 ghost, and I can't seem to get. Okay, actually, I wanted to say something I'm not happy with the Iron Banner post April update. The light level
Mhm.
cap has been increased to 335, and
Yep.
with the rank 3 and the rank 5 packages, rank 3 you're guaranteed an artifact, and I'm sitting here thinking, awesome, I need a new artifact. It'll guarantee me 335. Nope,
It's not upped, is it?
320.
Oh, 320.
320.
And on my rank 5 package, I got a ghost, 320.
320. Yep.
I was a little salty, not gonna lie.
Are you? I honestly thought that they would up the light level for it.
Me too, man. I was
Like
surprised.
320. Come on.
Yeah, I got 3 legendary
Well,
marks for my rank 5 package. I was
we,
stoked.
we just need to go run Court of Orcs. We'll get it.
Yeah, I need a ghost shell though. So I might need
Well,
a
okay.
Infant's Ball.
Next time the challenge yield is small arms. We'll go and farm that because that's where I got my ghost shell. Okay, no, that's not true because when we ran the raid, I got a 332 ghost shell and I fused it into my consumed shell.
Yeah.
So we should run the raid again at some point. We should run it this week because Or Priest challenge, easy 335.
That is very true. Easy, easy, easy.
All right, if you insist. I mean, we do have till Monday night.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right. So the next thing
Snipers.
is snipers.
Oh, snipers.
I haven't noticed too much except for that the zooming in onto the scope is definitely slowed, and I do feel that a lot of those scopes, like the long view, the ambush. I think I mixed up the long view. I'm not sure. I don't use snipers that much, but I do feel like they've changed. And I switched over to fusion rifles. Actually, I'm currently using the vacancy, and that thing is amazing. I got the God roll from Future Wall Cult, and holy crap!
Yeah.
I mean, quite honestly, it's been like a week or two since I played Destiny PvP, and I haven't really played much of the update. And coming back and using snipers, I can definitely see the change, and it's going to take some adjusting for me to do, especially with the slow zoom and stuff, and not being able to use it in close quarters as I used to anymore. It's a good balance, though. I like that.
Yeah,
they made it much more of a skill weapon. I noticed two main things, and a lot of people are talking about that they ninja nerfed the aim assist values in some of the scopes, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, has been confirmed by some of the Crucible scientists out in the community.
I think it has. I remember hearing about that. So that they have been secretly nerfed.
I feel like I've mostly been sniping No Land Beyond, so to be fair, I haven't used my 1,000-yard in a little while, but I've been switching back to it this week, and I've been having a lot more trouble landing shots.
I as well. I was using the Defiance just to test out to see if the aim assist was still there. I really don't think it is because I was having trouble hitting my shots, and usually my shots are connecting.
On the subject of the snipers in general, I'd like to say that I think they may have made a mistake and only nerfed our snipers and nobody else's because whenever I try to snipe, it's like I can't hit a brick wall, but when everybody else snipes, it's like I have a magnet for bullets in my head.
Well, I've been using No Land, and I've been doing good with that.
Helmet.
So
you got that from trials. I put a magnet on the back of it. You didn't notice.
I honestly feel, I don't know. Somehow some people have just seemed to adapt to the changes and can just still like no scope or quick scope just as fine as if it had never happened.
Oh, Ezio, AP didn't tell you I have this analog stick that I have in the middle of my room. So every time I move it, it moves your sniper. So I can just control remotely control your controller whenever I want to.
That's why he just watches you stream and has a little fun
stop
with
you.
Exactly.
This is why I go back to Dark Souls.
What makes you think I can't control that either?
Oh, I would know. I would know.
Oh man. Okay, last thing on snipers before we move on. And this is something that I've personally felt very strongly about since, because I've been sniping with No Land Beyond, with my Her Fury. I have a not the Tao Huayan, the other one, one of the new ones from I had 3 different snipers I've been sniping with, and every single one, in addition to having trouble landing those headshots, especially with drag scopes in particular, but the flinch seems like it's more intense. Like no matter what I'm being shot with, it seems like it's the reticle is so bouncy. I'm having even more trouble unless I get the jump on them. And I haven't heard anything about this from other content creators. At least like the ones I've looked at, I haven't heard them discussing it. It feels pretty significant, and again reinforces that thought of snipers being a high skill weapon, which I think is a good thing personally.
And that high
Yeah,
school is just happens to be medium range.
exactly. Which
Yeah,
and quite honestly, I mean, I like I said before, I agree with the balance, the changes that they did. It feels a lot more. It's actually making me try, which I like. So
yeah.
it's
I've
nice.
seen I've seen Groot get a triple kill when he yawned and sneezed at the same time. Yeah, all three of the enemies just died. He didn't even fire a
Don't
bullet. It
don't
was weird.
don't take don't take credit for my Nova Bomb.
Was that? I thought that
Who
was
said it
just.
was your Nova Bomb? That symbol for the Nova Bomb didn't pop up, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know, man. All I know is he sneezed and they died. I got no other things to say about that.
Usually it's when I fart they die, but I mean,
That's
most
actually
that's
that's when your teammates spontaneously get booted to orbit.
But before we leave snipers, you want to know what sniper I've been seeing a lot of people using that seems to just be spawning out of nowhere?
Hmm.
Queenbreaker's bow.
really.
Yeah,
I'm seeing a lot of people using that. I
yeah.
don't know. Did something change with it? Like, I remember it being kind of a less than stellar PvP gun, like more of a fun to shoot type thing. And now I'm seeing a bunch of people using it. Did something happen to it?
I don't remember if they touched it with the update. They might have tweaked the aim assist. They might have adjusted it. Um,
It would have to be a ninja thing, a stealth thing, because
Honestly,
they touched Lord of Wolves and they touched Drake's Promise,
Well,
yeah.
but
the only things that they said that they touched were or mainly for Queensbreaker, if I remember correctly, was the ammo.
Hmm.
Match it with the special ammo, correct?
okay, that's one other thing I do want to point out. That special ammo thing has hit snipers hard. When I was bringing her Fury into some of the missions and everything, um, back before with like 1,000 yards, you could have like 24 shots. No, it was the War Priest when we were doing that on our raid run.
Yeah.
Back before, Black Spindle could hold like 25 shots if you had the right perks. But
Mm.
now with all those same perks, you could only have about like 14 shots.
Okay. As painful as that is, there is something that's been discovered recently which will help in PvP a little bit. So I have to give credit to. I heard this from MTash. I think Mesa Sean might have been one of the dudes who was kind of passing this around earlier. But basically, there is a way that you can spawn into any Crucible match with 12 shots
Yeah,
on your sniper.
I heard about that. Um, if you have the chest piece with the special ammo
It's got to be
boost,
exotic.
it's got to be an exotic. Yeah.
Exotic chest
So
piece with special weapons, and then
yeah, so it has
legendary
to be
boots,
like Alchemist Raiment, Twilight Garrison,
armamentarium.
Armentarium. It has to be one of those with the special ammo boost, and then you can spawn it with 12 shots.
Yeah, you got to have the
I
boots
feel
too.
like I feel like spreading that around is going to invoke a lot more snipers.
Yeah, you're probably right. In fact, once I'm
Maybe we should edit that out.
no, no, share it with the
No,
world.
no, we don't. We just got to a point where there's only slightly less snipers. Let's not bring back the sniper lane. No bullshit.
Well, no, God, but I like the snipe. Come on, man, I love it.
Okay, I think we talked on the snipers enough. There is one more thing that's going to be happening, that being hitbox and hit detection changes.
Well, before we go there, I just want to clarify if anyone's. I mean, we said it. It's out in the open, so we might as well explain just so you know like how exactly it works. So, exotic chest piece, legendary boots. It only works for snipers, so you can't do this with shotguns, and you can't do it with a legendary chest piece that gives you sniper ammo. It's got to be an exotic chest piece with special weapon ammo and legendary boots with sniper ammo. You spawn in with 12 shots, and then it's up to you what you want to do from there. Now, back to Blade Dancer's shoulder charge and melees. Hoorah!
I want to say I've only ever noticed the hit detection problem being on shoulder charge, because most of the time I do play as a Titan, and of course I use Striker most of the time, and there's like 8 times out of 10 where I use a shoulder charge, and I will hit them right in their smug faces, and they will be like, "Oh, hi." shotgun.
You know, well, you know what? I quite honestly, I was playing Iron Banner last night and with AP actually, and quite honestly, I kept getting shoulder charged to death. I swear they were homing missiles. I swear one of them curved into
I
me.
swear, all these problems are just for us. It's nobody else.
I know it's like, and I'm running like a little baby. Like I see this Titan charging at me, and I'm like, nope, okay, nope, he's gonna shoulder charge me, and I'm running. The next thing you know, he's right behind me, and boom, right up the butt. I'm gone. I'm dead. You know?
Well, the thing about this is it's not all the time. There are times when shoulder charge operates exactly as intended. There are times when you get an entire team wipe with a blade dancer. However, I have I mentioned this to you guys. I actually have a clip saved on my on the Xbox Cloud clip save service, whatever it is, that I got hit 3 times by a blade dancer, and I had enough time to melt him with my primary while he's in my face and melee him, and he died. Like, I saved the clip out of sheer shock. Like, how did I survive that? And then on the flip side, I've been a blade dancer, charging, shredding into a guy, and he has enough time to get 2 shotgun shells off on me and kill me. So it's not every
Yeah,
time, but
yeah.
there's a problem.
I have seen an example of the blade dances. When Mr. Fruit and Professor Broman played a trials match at one point, and Professor Broman was the only one alive, and some guy popped his blade dancer and started swinging at him. He tried 2 swings, neither of them hit, and that gave Broman enough time to kill him. And so
Yeah.
Broman's just kind of like, I don't know how I lived, but fuck you.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why a lot of competitive players won't bring Blade Dance into sweaty playlists, because the super is it can be effective. It's still not as tactically advantageous as say a golden gun, but it's like you can use it.
Yeah,
But the problem is because it's inconsistent, it's just too much of a liability in a high pressure situation.
yeah.
But luckily, they're going to fix it. They've said they're going to do it. The date off the top of my head is eluding me, but they said they aren't going to do it for a little while, which made me
Isn't it?
sad.
I thought they were gonna do the patch in May at some point.
May
Oh yeah,
3rd.
yeah, that's
That's
the
what I
one.
heard.
Yeah, it's May 3rd. At I think they were doing 10 a.m. Pacific.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it's actually almost here.
Yep.
Cool.
All a little bit before Civil War.
So we talked about Destiny. We're going to move on to Dark Souls, which, as everybody listening knows, is Ezio's baby. We're not going to spend too long here, but there is some pretty cool stuff that's happened recently that has come to kind of settle as a meta, and he's going to help us to understand what that is.
Yep. For anyone who's played the Soulsborne games before, you already know how it goes. After a little bit after the game is released, the community pretty much decides on a level that everyone stops at. The reason behind this, for all those who don't know, is how the matchmaking and everything works in these games is depending on your level. If you're level 200, it's going to be very hard to match up with people who are below level 100. So everyone's decided that the level is going to be around 120. If you're like I'm thinking there's some wiggle room. If you're around 10 levels around then, I don't think it's going to be a big difference, but it's going to be easier to match up with people. And then we can have our awesome Dark Souls fight clubs that have been happening. I've seen some videos of those. They are hilarious. Especially when someone drinks an Estus flask to heal in the middle of a fight. He gets wrecked. Have you ever seen 5 guys chasing after one dude running through like a bunch of enemies?
Yeah, in the Division.
Well, Division. Nobody plays Division anymore, but we'll get to that later.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Savage.
But yeah, seeing all these things in the fight clubs of Dark Souls, I've been in a few and it was hilarious. But yeah, the current level that has been decided is around 120. If you don't plan on doing PvP or anything, do whatever you want. I have a character at 200 and I have a character at 120. I have a PvP and I have a fuck everything I want to be God mode character.
So what's you mentioned to me on the side something about like specific weapons and gear that people tend to gravitate towards?
Yeah, right now there's a couple weapons that have been very popular for the sweaty PvPers. The most popular currently is the S-Stock, which is pretty much a longsword and a rapier combined. The reason behind it is it does quite a lot of damage, and it doesn't take a lot of stamina to hit. Right now, I have about 160 stamina, and I can do 10 attacks before I run out, which is about the most you can do with a weapon at the moment.
Yeah, just from what I've seen watching, like I watched Tefty Teft play some Dark Souls and got a bit more of an understanding of like how stamina works with dodging and attacking. That sounds pretty beastly.
Yeah, it is absolutely annoying. The reason I have one and why I upgraded it is because well, I've had so many invaders come in where they use S stocks and everything, and I try to be awesome and kill them, but they'll just spam that light attack button, back off, heal, and then they'll go back in for the spam.
Hmm.
They just want to go for the win.
Well,
And
don't we
then there's
all?
yeah, then there's the other weapon that a lot of people are using, that being the Dark Blade. Um or Dark Sword, I can't remember the exact name of it. But it's an enemy drop from Dark Wraith enemies. And it's a straight sword, so it has a pretty good attack speed. And it doesn't take too much stamina, but you're not able to get as many hits as the S-Stock. But it's the fact that it's a straight sword that does a crazy amount of damage. So, and it has very low requirements in strength, I believe. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's an easy to use weapon, and it does an immense amount of damage. Think the Suros regime back in the beginning of Destiny. That's what the Dark Sword is.
Oh snap!
Yeah.
It's funny if you weren't gonna bring in a Destiny gun, I was gonna bring in a Destiny gun.
I have to use the Destiny gun assumption. It helps.
It does. It's so
But
relatable to us.
what I'm liking to see is most of the time in these type of situations, most of the time everybody just yells nerf it. But right now, a lot of the community is kind of grouped up, and they have found ways to counter it. Like for example, the Darkblade has such a telegraphed attack because it winds the sword back and then moves, so you're able to parry it if you have a shield or a weapon that can parry. Same with the S-Talk. After the first hit, when they go in for the second, that's a perfect time to parry them, and then you can get a critical hit.
Hmm.
Like, that's what I'm liking, is the fact that they're finding ways to beat these commonly used weapons. So you have to be on your toes about it.
So it's a meta that's kind of settled, but there's room for it to shift.
Yes.
Okay, it's the best kind of
Um,
meta.
yeah, it really is. The only thing that everyone's agreed on is that at the moment, magic is kind of shit.
Like too powerful or not powerful enough?
Not powerful enough.
Have they
It's
have they
not
made
very
like
viable. Huh?
have they made any? Oh, sorry. Have they made any discussions to change that or kind of fix it?
Of upping magic or the
Yeah,
weapons?
the magic.
They haven't said anything, but I very much expect them to at least buff it a bit. Right now, magic is only really viable if you make a straight magic build, which would restrict you on melee weapons.
Mhm.
Um, and even
Yes.
then, only certain spells really help you.
So it kind of puts you at a disadvantage, they'll
Yeah.
say.
If you're a really skilled player and you know what you're doing, then yes, magic can be viable. But for mass majority, it's not gonna. Yeah, it's not very viable. Um, the more viable builds are mainly strength and dexterity builds, and recently some bow builds have come in.
So when you told us a few weeks ago or however long ago it was that you kind of screwed yourself over in your first playthrough and you wanted to start over, was that because you started emphasizing the wrong build?
No, it was because I had. Okay, one thing in the Dark Souls games is you get a boss soul from each boss you kill. Then you can use an item to change that soul into a unique weapon. I screwed up and completely forgot about it for one reason or another. So I had been using all the boss souls to get more currency in the game.
Mm.
And then once I got the item, I was like, oh, well, shit.
Hmm.
Time to restart. So I restarted, and now I use every of these boss souls to get cool weapons.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, for the sake of time, oh wait, actually, I did want to ask one more question about Dark Souls. Um, have they said anything about the content of the upcoming expansions? And if so,
Um,
what can we look forward to?
they haven't. Okay, I'm gonna go very briefly into how the history with expansions have gone. Usually, okay, every single one of the games, Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne have all had expansions. The only thing in common of them is they said nothing about them. They were most games. Call of Duty.
Oh, you
They
coughing over there? You okay? Need a tissue?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay, cool.
But most games seem like, hey, this game's coming out in 3 months. Okay, awesome. Hey, look at this DLC that's coming out a few months later after the release. Cool. Why wasn't that packaged with the game? What they usually do is they just don't say anything. This is the first time that they have actually said that they're having expansions. We don't know the content, but we do know that the first one's supposed to come out in fall, and the second one's supposed to come out around early 2017, I want to say. Now, whenever a game company announces DLC before the game's release, I'm usually a bit scared. Because usually it's content stripped out of the game and then put out later. Some companies don't do that. I'll be honest, people. However many times you claim it, it's not always true. But most of the time it is. These,
Ironically, oh, go ahead. Finish
yeah,
your thought.
okay. With From Software, the studio that makes the Dark Souls games, every single one of their expansions have been absolutely amazing. They always include amazing additional boss fights, new awesome weapons that you can get, um, extensions on the lore of the history of the world of Dark Souls. Just so much good stuff. I uh, I'm definitely excited for it. I'm not scared at all because I know they will give us something good with both the expansions.
Okay. I was gonna say, the irony is, you mentioned being wary of any company that announces the DLC before the game is out, and my first thought was our next topic, The Division, which announced their entire year-long plan, which I don't think is in any way like I don't think at all that
Accurate.
they've cut stuff out to repackage later. I think it's very much they've probably had lots of stuff like mostly built, but they needed to finish it, polish it, and also hear feedback from the consumer base and use that to kind of shape and
Yeah.
mold the final
Um.
product.
This is how I feel it went. I feel like they were working on some parts and that they didn't completely finish it by the time of release. They're like, okay, so what we'll do. This is my theory. I'm actually not being vindictive. This is honestly a theory I have. What I think happened, because I feel like the game isn't complete, is that they took a couple things out so that they can sprinkle it to keep our attention, so that they can finish some of the later expansions. That's a theory I have, because the game honestly doesn't feel complete to me.
If so, they done goofed.
I mean,
They
quite
really
honest.
did.
Here's the thing about the Division is as we know, it was probably the most hyped game over the past year. Quite
Since
honestly,
Destiny, I'd
says
say.
Destiny exactly. At least for me.
Yep.
And you get all these teasers, these trailers, these gameplay demonstrations of, how destructive the terrain is and how realistic everything is. And then you get the game. You level up to level 30, you do your grind, you go in the dark zone, and then you realize, like, wow, there's nothing left to do. And then they just keep throwing small amounts of content and updates at you to try and keep you to go in. Now we've got the incursion, and quite honestly, I haven't even tried the incursion because I've heard horrible things about it. I've heard it,
I I haven't even downloaded the update. I haven't. I've been playing Destiny and Dark Souls, and I've heard just terrible things about what's been going on in Division currently.
well, what I've heard is it's long. Once you finish it, it's not rewarding enough. And it's just really not. I mean, I've heard it's challenging, but it just takes too long to complete. And if it takes too long to complete, I mean, like, what's the point? Because if you're just gonna keep trying at this thing and trying and trying and trying, I mean, you get no reward out of it. And then at the end, if you do finish it, I've heard that the rewards just aren't that great. At least with Destiny, if you fail the raid a couple times or fail like a certain part, like War Priest or you know, the sisters or any other
Yeah,
sort of
you usually get loot along the way.
exactly. You get loot along the way, and on top of that, you also like eventually you guys will, the team will get it after like 9 or 10 tries. But with this, it's like I've seen just consistent failures or just continuous amount of success, and just the rewards don't pay off.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of the main problem. Um, it's not that there's nothing to do in the division. When you get to level 30, there's stuff to do. It's just the stuff to do isn't particularly interesting. or at
It's
least not.
repetitive.
It's repetitive. It's not diverse enough. The Dark Zone is the most interesting thing about the game, but even that, it's like it's a cool concept. It's pretty fun in application. Has a lot of problems, which detracts from the enjoyment of it. And even that too burns out quickly. At least with Destiny, which I'm sure people are going to get sick of everybody and their mother comparing these two games, but shut up. We like to do it. The point is, at least with Destiny, the raid, you have to do that raid a bunch of times before you get tired of it. And it's
Yeah.
beautiful, and there's mechanics that you actually feel like you have to play a role.
Yeah,
And
plus half the time, most of the fun of the raids is just messing around with people. There has been so many times that we'll go into a raid and half of it is just us goofing off. I definitely know that when we were doing multiple times on the King's Fall raid in that freaking wipeout room. And if you don't know what wipeout is, shame on you.
huh?
That room is just so fun just to mess around with and just say, okay, it's like, oh, he's AFK. Push. Okay, I'm poof
Oh,
back.
dude, even when they're not, like when they're watching
Even
somebody try and get up the D wall jumping puzzle, and they're like looking over the edge and they're giving them instructions, and he's like, "Come on, come on," and they slide on their feet and they just fall off, pop their warlock glide, which does not save them as they fall to their death. It's so fun.
and shoulder charge.
Oh, that one's even better. It's much more satisfying, I'd say.
It
You know,
is.
quite honestly, too. I mean, I know, comparing the Division and Destiny is obviously a common thing nowadays because they're the two games that you can compare, quite frankly. The thing that, about the Division is the only ways to really keep yourself entertained right now are the DZ and the Incursion. And, the Division is just countlessly running around or in the DZ, I'm sorry, is just countlessly running around in circles, just killing bosses and stuff like that. And to the point where the rewards might not even be worth it. And with the Incursion, it's just, from what I heard, not rewarding. But with Destiny, there's so many different game types that you can and archetypes that you can play to reward yourself in a
Yeah.
quicker, timely fashion and more entertaining.
With Division, I feel like I'm smashing my head into a brick wall repeatedly and not making any progress.
Exactly.
I played Dark Souls 3, and I'm saying that about Division. That has to say something.
That's a good point. All right.
I've
Well,
never felt like I've smashed my head in Dark Souls 3 with no progress.
Which is
Division,
surprising.
in friggin' Division, I feel like I'm on a treadmill trying to run a marathon.
well, look, there's a lot of people. In fact, if you want to find complaining about the Division, if you want to like find more of that, it's all over the internet. It's all over Reddit, YouTubers, streamers. Everyone's talking about everything that's
Yeah,
wrong with
Dado,
it.
I know, just released a sort of podcast thing where he was talking about with some other YouTubers who play Division, and they were talking about this too.
So why don't we take the higher road, or at least the more constructive road, and think of some ways that the Division could regain our interest, ways the game could change or evolve or expand that would make us want to play again.
Well, quite honestly, like I'd like to see more PvE
Yeah,
activities. I mean, the DZ is a mix of PvE and PvP, but I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's not enough. I'd like to see more things going outside of the DZ and the Incursion.
yeah, seriously.
I like to see.
I
mean,
want a true horde mode.
yes,
The Incursion is not a true horde mode.
it's not. I would like to see that. I mean, quite that's a good feature. I'd like to see an expansion in the map sometime soon.
I feel
I
like it is because we know for a fact that you can get out of it, and
Yeah.
that there's some already fully fleshed out areas,
Hmm.
like as
Yeah.
if it was an actual part of the game. It's just you have to glitch out of it. We
Yeah.
know there are areas out there, so I feel like those areas are going to be limited DLC. Like I said, it's already in the game.
It's okay, but just because the areas in the game doesn't mean that the content that will
Yeah,
be
I know.
filled in that area is ready.
Yeah, I
You
Yeah.
know.
got to be
You have to
careful with
download. You
that
have to
rhetoric.
download that.
Rhetoric.
You
You
have
know
to
what I want
download
to see?
that.
I want to
Yep.
see. Pardon the comparison once again, but one of the most fun things for me about playing Destiny is the gunplay and how all these guns feel
Yes.
so different and it's satisfying landing headshots. I want to, and it's a fundamentally different type of game where it's based on numbers and your gear score and things like that, so that shooting someone in the head 8 times with your sniper rifle makes sense. That's not going to change, and that's fine. But all the scopes look the same. Like there's I think 2 scope archetypes other than iron
Yep.
sights, and that's really frustrating. I want it because that changes how it feels to shoot the gun. It changes your ability to land headshots depending on your comfort level and ability to see with that scope. That would move miles for me. If the gun sounded different, if it felt different when they shot, like
Yeah.
it's just not diverse enough as a
With
shooter experience.
uh, with Destiny, you know where gun is being shot. Most guns have their own sound to it. You can tell when a Source is being shot,
Yep.
when a Hardlight's being shot, when a Queenbreaker's bow is being shot. You can tell, and they all feel different. With Division, I feel like I'm using the same gun, different with a different look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I'd like to see more customization come to them as well. I mean, it obviously is diverse already, but I'd eventually like us to see like, like kind of Infinity Ward or Treyarch implement into their Call of Duty games. I'd like to see be able to make your own custom skin on your gun or your own kind of like
I mean,
I would like to
yeah,
see the implementation of like a
I want,
like clan or faction system.
yeah, I want to pull a comparison to a game that not many people can think of. The second Army of Two game.
Yes.
There was a website where you could make your own mask designs and put them into the game. I don't see how that's not that easy to do. I don't see how companies haven't done that yet. Where they just say, okay, you want to make your own like gun skin or something? Here's a website. Do it there. Put it
Yeah.
into the game. Boom. It was done years ago by a company that not many people remember too well. I can't even remember the name of the company.
Yeah, and I mean, if they want to make the game more interactive and more, more social and get more stuff, they need to start thinking of that customization. I mean, if they implement like a clan or faction type deal, I mean, let people build. I mean, we've got the base of operations. Let people build their own bases and like their own,
Yeah.
external world or something like that that they can kind of go to and just
I think
whatever.
I think there needs to be a more of a hub world,
Yeah,
like how the tower is in Destiny.
exactly. I
All
agree.
the Destiny comparisons, you're gonna be hearing more of them, folks.
Sorry.
No,
That's true.
No, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry.
I'm not either.
I'm sorry if
But
people get
yeah,
frustrated, but it's
we
just very
need
helpful.
we need a social hub like the tower, because in the tower, people will randomly message people and invite them to games because it's like, oh, let's see if that person wants to play. In Division, the only time you ever see other players is in the Dark Zone when they're trying to kill you, or in some of the safe houses when you just can't interact with them at all.
Or they're blocking you from entering a door. Now, luckily, you can teleport through them.
Yeah, so I feel like if they made the base of operation, okay, that's a bad example actually because they could block you from PCs possibly. Okay, we just need a social hub in general,
Hmm.
like that base camp that's at the beginning of the game. Make
Yes.
that a social hub. Make that the social hub where players can interact with each other and send invites and such like that.
What do you guys think of this? And this will probably be my last personal suggestion, which to say, like, I'm going to say this up front. I don't think they will ever do this. But imagine if they had a PvP system separate from the Dark Zone, kind of like a combat simulation system where you get in put into a private simulation section of New York with a group of other players. You're given a set of gear that you can select from a menu that's not the gear that you normally run around with. It's like test weapons essentially with certain loadouts, and you go in and you play like deathmatch or plant the bomb, things like that, different game types, and kind of the in the lore of the universe, it's like it's prepping for going out into the streets of New York and actually doing it. But
You mean kind of like a simulation version of like Team Fortress 2?
never played it, but I'll take your word for it. It's
It
essentially like playing
it's
in the
different
Crucible.
classes that are restricted to certain weapons.
Yeah, well, but they wouldn't be your weapons because my big thing
Yeah,
about the Dark Zone is you've got people like I can't go into the Dark Zone and enjoy it because the people that are still playing have gotten their gear scores so high that I'm literally just cannon fodder. I'm not gonna be able to do anything.
yeah.
But if we had this independent thing, the thing that keeps me playing Destiny is PvP. I love PvP, but I like the fact that it's balanced and the limited number of activities in PvP in the game that your gear score does matter. Iron Banner and Trials of Osiris. It's not that difficult to get to the point where you're not really in danger of being affected by it. If they could implement something like that, I would definitely be playing a lot more Division.
Yeah, and I really think they need to revamp the trading system. And Ubisoft Massive, if you ever hear this, listen up because this is, from what I've seen, what the community wants. You need to implement a community-based, or sorry, an economic-based trading system that has really no limitations of you can't trade this after an hour or something like that. It should be done, and it's what the game needs, in my opinion. You know,
Yeah.
but honestly, there needs to be an economic-based trading system or auction house, because quite honestly, that would put an increase in the game that would allow for people to start like having different roles inside of the game, trading and such like that. They could become traders, they could just farm endlessly for to help other people who don't have the time to farm gear, to help them get better gear, and just
Yeah.
throw it up, and buy it
Just
for credits or something.
just make sure your auction house doesn't do real money. That's how it killed the auction
Yeah.
house in Diablo 3.
No,
Yes,
man, pay to
exactly.
win's the way to go. Every game should go down that path.
Oh, sarcasm intended,
No.
I'm hoping.
I hope that was sarcastic.
We're
Also, I'll
talking
have
about
to
the
punch
division.
you
I'm trying
when
to
we
be divisive.
Yeah, if not, AP, I'm gonna come over into the next room and punch you right in the face.
I'll fly over to Arizona and I'll
I
punch
dare
both of
you.
you in the face.
You feeling lucky, punk? All right. Well,
Okay,
enough
so
of that.
yeah.
Let's move on. We do have a community meeting tonight, which we got to make sure we have enough time for. So moving
Yep.
on to a few rumored games that we've heard about. First one, Battlefield 5.
I'm gonna go ahead and put my whole thought on it is the last Battlefield game I honestly enjoyed was Bad Company 2. So just make your opinions on that.
Which one was that in the series? The only Battlefield I played was 3.
It was like right before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Groot?
Uh, I really haven't played since 3, quite honestly. But
Mm.
I thoroughly enjoyed 3. I like the realism that Battlefield has in it. So, I mean, quite honestly, I usually play that over Call of Duty just because I like that. I like being able
Uh,
to lead my targets and
uh
stuff.
yeah,
I think,
I like Battlefield, mainly the older ones,
yeah.
because whenever I tried playing 3, well really late into the game. So I'm gonna quickly demonstrate my experience. Spawn, die, spawn, die, spawn, die, spawn, die.
Hey, we're talking about Battlefield, not Call of Duty.
Oh, I have the same experience.
At some
It,
point, you just have to ask, maybe it's me.
when I spawn and get headshotted within half a second, or get
Just
blown up by a random border, it's not my fault.
all right. Well,
The
go
great
ahead.
thing about this Battlefield, from what we've heard, is that it's supposed to be quote unquote a fun new Battlefield that's supposed to be returning to military style games. There's been news that it's supposed to be World War I based, which would introduce trenches and such, which would be
Ooh,
Okay, I'm
oh yeah,
interested.
and bayonets and trenches would be
Okay.
probably the main things. And quite honestly, I think that would be extraordinary. I think that's a whole different type of battlefield. Like that's something that we've never seen done before.
Yep. Okay, I'm interested now.
okay. Imagining that, the one thing that I remember the most, it really stuck with me about Battlefield 3 that I absolutely adored was, and I bear with me, I don't remember the name of the game type. It's been a few years, but there's this one game type where essentially, like the map that we're playing on, and this is like a 10v10 or 12v12 is a pretty big playlist. And this map from start to finish was massive. It was like really long. But what happened was for the first part of the game, you're trying to like plant bombs or do something like that, and it's a certain part of the map is blocked off. Like you think the map is this one area, and then when you complete the objective, if you manage to blow up these two things within the time limit, you advance,
Okay.
and it opens
Yeah.
up into the next part of the level, and it's a whole new
It's
scenery.
it does. They have that game mode in most Battlefield games. It just changes its name. Like in Bad Company, it was called Gold Rush. And yeah, when you kill off, when you not kill off, but destroy the two objectives, it extends the map, and then you have to do two more,
That was the
and then it keeps
coolest
doing
thing for me.
yeah, and it keeps doing that 5 times.
Now
So you
imagine
get a
imagine like
massive map.
imagine you dock on a beach and it's like traditional just World War visuals, like the trenches, the mortars going off, just hecticness, bullets flying everywhere. And it's that same idea. Like you've got the defending team trying to hold the beachfront, and then you're assaulting it. And if you manage to complete whatever the objective is or push them back to a certain point, it opens up the map further back into like a whole new section, and you have to continue to try and invade and ultimately take down this stronghold or whatever it is. That would be sick.
Yeah,
I
I
would play
definitely
that game.
agree. I'm getting tired of all the modern day shooters. Like, they just seem to be mostly of the same to me. But whenever they do something different like that, I loved World at War. Call of Duty World at War.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I loved how it was. So when the so now that I'm hearing that Battlefield 5 may be doing something like that, my interest has peaked.
So let's look forward to that, and presumably they're going to announce it at E3, right? That's what we're expecting.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
All right.
I thought they had a date that they were going to talk to. I forgot what it was, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's yeah.
We had a what?
They said they had a date. They said sometime next week, I think it was actually. They're going to be doing a live stream of it. So May 6th, I think it was.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Well, so Civil War comes out today, so I may
Yeah.
miss it.
exactly. All right. Next thing is Call of Duty. Let's talk about the one that we're excited about first.
Yes. Okay. So obviously Infinite Warfare could be possibly, could be possibly modern. We're not too sure yet, but they are abandoning the whole space war stuff from the looks of it and from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
But the most exciting part is the rumored remastered version of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Yes.
So,
that along with World at War were the last two good Call of Duty games in my opinion.
exactly.
Modern Warfare 2 was fine after they fixed the sniping shotguns that can hit you across the map.
Yes, exactly. But and the great thing too is the downfall is it's only going to have 10 multiplayer maps. But this is coming back. I mean, like maybe
It's coming back.
It's coming back. That's the important part. I mean,
I care.
This game, this was exactly like this was the first Call of Duty I ever played and the most exciting.
Yes, same. It was the first. I think that and Halo were the games that got me into the shooter genre.
Yes, mainly Halo for me, and then I got into Call of Duty 4, and it was just that just sealed the deal for me. I mean, good old days on sniping on what was that map? Block, I think it was, right? Or was it Crossfire?
I think maybe Crossfire, maybe.
No, Crossfire was the one with the bus on it. The downstream. I think it was Block. Yeah, it was Block because Block has the statue in the middle.
Okay.
So and then that and Overgrown. Oh, jeez.
Also, back in the simple days when we only had 3 kill streaks, none of this 25 kills gets you a nuke bullshit.
Hey, yeah. I like the nuke. Don't rag on the nuke.
The nuke is bullshit.
Bro, MW2 is my baby. Don't trash talk my baby.
I don't like the nuke, quite honestly.
I don't like the nuke either.
I liked chasing the nuke. I like to chase challenges like that, and that was my holy grail when I first, because Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was the first Call of Duty game I ever played. Came hot out of Halo into Call of Duty, and that was my white whale. My name is Ahab, and I chased it, and it killed me. Oh, it killed me.
Okay, by the way, I want to go back and say that not only those two, but Gears of War got me to shoot it as well. Okay, I'm good.
The community is going to hate me for this. I never really got into Gears of War. I know, right?
You didn't get into the viscerally gory Gears of War with the chainsaw gun?
Quite honestly, I have never played Gears of War for more than an hour and a half before. Probably the amount that I've ever played. I've been thinking about picking up the Ultimate Edition and trying it out.
If you do, I will play co-op with you the entire way. But I can understand why people don't like it.
It's not that I don't like it. It's just that I just, I just never got into it.
Okay, I understand why people don't, because after playing like Destiny and all these like more responsive like gameplay games, I have gone back when I was playing the Ultimate Edition of Gears of War. I have realized that the gameplay of that is a bit clunky.
Yeah.
But it was a revolution at the time.
It really was. And it's still a hell of a lot of fun. Yeah. And I feel so sick with myself that I haven't actually played the Gears of War 4 beta. I have it downloaded on my Xbox. I'm disappointed in myself that I haven't played it.
I would honestly venture to say that Gears of War really made the idea of satisfying and rewarding headshots a main staple. Like, I almost feel like Destiny had to have been inspired by some degree of the visceral joy when you snipe some dude in the head in Gears of War and his head literally explodes and blood erupts from his
head is just gone. I'd like to say that in Gears Gears of War, and I just want to say this, and then we should probably get back to the actual topics. Is I loved the torque bow because I got so many kills where I would headshot someone, get rid of their head, the bolt would continue to go on, hit someone else, and then they'd blow up.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff with
It
that
really
gun in
is.
particular.
Totally know what you guys are talking about right now.
I know, right?
It's so
Yeah.
interesting. I love that part of the game.
Should we just make time now to just talk about Gears of War, or should we actually move on?
No,
Let's move on.
Okay, we'll talk about Gears
Groot,
of War
you know what?
some other
Why don't you
day.
tell us your favorite moment in Gears of War? Starting with, let's tell us your last boss encounter in the first one. What was that like?
Oh man.
It was
All right.
It was a cool summer afternoon in eastern
I
Wisconsin.
was walking along with my gun that has a chainsaw built into it, and I encountered a boss.
The end.
The end.
Beautifully put, sir. Beautifully put.
Pure poetry.
But here, I do have a question for you guys for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, because what would be your favorite map that would come back out of all of them?
I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember any of the names.
Oh man, you can't remember the good old days of Pipeline, Shipment, Overgrown, Block, Crash, Countdown.
I'm pretty sure three of those
Crossfire.
were Modern Warfare. I'm pretty sure 3 of those were Modern Warfare 2 maps.
Were they? I don't know.
Yep.
I'll tell you what. I only remember
I'm-
one map. I don't know its
No.
name, but I can describe it to you.
Describe.
Four of those like storage unit things, like the long
Shipment.
Yeah.
shipment. That was the only map I ever played because I got into it late and then I jumped into Modern Warfare 2. But oh man, I played that map probably 50 or 60 times with my friends, just that one map, because I loved that small tactical gameplay. So good.
What about Wet Work, the one with the ship? How do you guys like that one?
Okay, I do remember that one, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
I do prefer it, quite honestly. But Block was my favorite though, by far. Yeah, let's
Warfare.
Infinite Warfare. Yeah, we need to go on to Infinite Warfare and actually talk about that.
Let's just keep talking about Call of Duty 4. I don't want to go into Infinite Warfare.
Ezio, you can't run away from the truth.
No.
We have to face this head on. We have to brave the dark future ahead of us.
I would rather break both legs than have to talk about Infinite Warfare.
I bet you it's going to come out and you're going to love it.
Well, quite honestly,
no, I'm not.
Infinite Warfare, they gave us a teaser video today that was kind of just, I was looking at it and I thought it was just a guy mumbling, quite honestly. I looked at the text and it kind of was like introducing a new enemy that we'd be fighting. Quite honestly, like I'm pretty hyped for it, with obviously Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare coming. The fact that they're adding that as a remaster to it and not an expansion but an additional front to it, it kind of makes me think that they're going to go back to that style of game. Maybe introduce that style back, which would be nice. I mean, if they can introduce that style along with those kinds of guns and with a new updated, graphical and more different maps and stuff like that, I'd love to see that. None of these boosters.
I'm going to say, though, I really hope that it's an actual graphical upgrade and just not the exact same one with, like, slightly different.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Because nobody can deny this. Nobody can deny this. Most of the Call of Duty games look the same. When I saw a trailer for Modern Warfare 2 and 3, I honestly thought it looked almost exactly like the original Modern Warfare.
Yeah, no, I agree. I saw like a bit of an improvement in them, but not, as much. But I mean, we're on Xbox One technology now with upgraded graphics and stuff like that, and new engines and stuff like that. So, well, most definitely see an improvement. One way or another. But I am expecting them to come full on into this game. I don't want it to be the same exact setting as Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, but I'd like to see the same style of gameplay that it once was. That made it fun. That no wall running, no futuristic jump packs, or
I want all that to go away.
Exactly. There's no need for it.
If you guys get rid of whatever company's making Infinite Warfare, I'm gonna assume Infinity Ward.
Yep.
If you get rid of all that futuristic stuff, then I'll consider playing your game.
Yep, and no whatever they're called, no supers or different characters that Black Ops has.
Get rid of that.
Yeah, get
Get
rid of
rid of
that.
all
That's
that.
it's not needed. Just plain old Modern Warfare.
Just
Just
it,
do it. It's that simple. It's not
Hashtag
that
make
hard.
YouTube great again.
You guys have done it again. There's no, you've done it before. Just do it. That simple. Not hard. It's listen to the community. It's what will
just
get. It's what you
pr-
will.
pretty
What?
much just make Call of Duty 4 remaster, but just improve it, and you're good.
It's we understand that they have to make money, obviously, but this is what's going to make them money. This is what the
That
community
that
wants. It's not
they're
about
gonna make money no matter what. People buy Call of Duty just because it's the name.
exactly, and now they need to realize it's not about what they want to make. It's about what the community really wants. They need to listen to their gamers. That's the important part because that's who truly will buy your game. You know? Yeah, I'm sure some other people would buy the new Call of Duty, if it's futuristic or stuff like that, but you're not going to have the bigger fan base that you once had. Everybody's sick of it, or the majority of the community is sick of it. Listen,
Yep.
You
do it,
know,
and proceed.
you've just inspired me so much with that speech. In fact, if only other companies would listen to their fan base and actually make the game that the people want to play. God, if only there was a readily available example of this happening in the gaming community right now. Oh, if only. Oh wait, you guys heard about Nostalrius?
I think we're skipping over a subject.
We'll come back to it. This is important. It's a perfect segue. Don't deny me this. Don't do it, Ezio.
Okay, I'll give you this segue.
Okay.
I'll let you have it.
So, if anybody, which I'm assuming if you're listening to this episode, you listened to the previous episode where I interviewed my friend Andy about the state of World of Warcraft, and also we talked about this private server, Nostalrius Begins, which grew absolutely massive. 800,000 people created accounts, 150,000 were actively playing at the time of it being shut down, and this created a huge wave in the community. They started a petition. I personally signed it, tweeted about it, tried to get as many people around me active on it. And one of the head honchos in Blizzard said that if it got to 300,000, he would hand it off to the CEO. Well, as of I believe yesterday is when I first saw the articles being posted. The guy who started Nostalrius and his team had been granted a private meeting with the Blizzard head honchos. Now, for people who don't play World of Warcraft, this probably just sounds like, oh, that's cool, I guess, but I don't really care. Fast forward to the end. Here's the thing, though. This is not just about World of Warcraft. This is exactly what Groot was just talking about people making the game that people want to play, and they would actually succeed a lot more. Blizzard outright shut down any idea of legacy servers for their game World of Warcraft, like for forever. And this happening, if it does happen, we don't know for sure that it's going to happen, but this is a huge step forward in terms of that becoming a probable or a plausible possibility. This is going, and especially with such a huge company, this could change the way that the gamer and developer relationship exists moving forward. What do you guys think about what this could mean?
I mean,
I,
quite honestly, it shows that there's going to be future communication between developer and gamers. I mean, for them to actually sit down like this, obviously, yeah, it's a big group of people. It's a large group of people, but to kind of look at this and say, hey, this small group that may have not been known by many WoW players, because I'm sure there's millions of them out there, this is a small percentage, I'm sure, compared to that. To actually have that developer take notice of that, being able to and actually listen to what the gamers want, it's inspiring. It should inspire other developers to follow along with that. I get it. Blizzard has to protect their intellectual property. It's a given. That's how developing works. That's how games work. But this could base an idea off of them that could get them a bigger game base. It's possible. It's revolutionizing.
This gives me a lot of hope, honestly. Destiny started to do it. Bungie kind of making changes in the direction of what the players want. They haven't done it fully, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because there's a lot of people who think that nerfing something or buffing something is the right thing to do, but may actually break the game. But things like custom matchmaking, custom lobbies, things like that, I do believe that they've started doing that, where they're creating the game that we want to play in addition to creating the game that they want to make. If Blizzard does this, man, that's going to be another huge step forward. These are two very visible companies. I would love to see this kind of happen in the future, while simultaneously, especially for big companies. But I also want to see indie companies who don't have that huge fan base yet kind of create the game they want to make, as opposed to, I guess this is a totally different rabbit trail, but the difference between like creating the game that they would want to play versus creating the game that we want to play. I think that there's a balance that's askew with these big corporations and developers like Bungie and Blizzard. And I'm hoping this is going to help to find that new balance.
Yeah, I completely agree. I really hope it revolutionizes something, and I think it will. It'll spark something with Blizzard to maybe just listen and implement it. And if they do that, that's something that in my opinion, I'm sure that they've never really done to that level before. You know?
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to see how that develops in the future. We have one more thing that we got to talk about. Unfortunately, it's not the happiest of happy haps, but it is something that's been happening, and we should mention it. Lionhead Studios has officially shut down. They cease to exist.
I was not happy when I had heard about it, with them
Mm,
planning to close down Lionhead,
nor was I.
because I loved the Fable games. I mean, yes, they kind of dwindled in their quality, but I still had a lot of fun with them. Fable 1, though, was just absolutely amazing, and I was actually looking forward to Fable Legends.
Yeah, I was too. Quite honestly, I thought it was going to be interesting, and then we get this bad news that Microsoft is like, "Hey, you guys don't
Nope.
seem to be, doing well. So yeah, bye bye. You're shut down." I mean, they gave them some time to be like, "Hey, let's reconsider this and see if we can work something out." And fortunately, it looks like they didn't. So
Yeah.
as of what was it yesterday? They're closed.
Yeah. They just closed yesterday, I believe.
Yep. So, and this is a good development team, though. Don't lose hope. I'm sure these developers are going to find jobs elsewhere in other gaming companies. They obviously have built a
Yeah.
reputation. They've got big name games under their belt for their resumes. We'll see them. We'll see. Maybe these people will go off and create their own other separate company under a new publisher. It's possible.
That's what some companies have done. The studios will close,
Yep.
but then they'll form their own. I
Exactly.
believe Martin O'Donnell did something like that after he left Bungie. So of their games, what have you guys played of a Lionhead Studios game?
Oh, jeez. Let's see. I played Fable 1, Fable 2. Didn't really play anything past that. I got really into those games. I really enjoyed them. The storyline is what really did it for me, and the uniqueness of the mechanics and such.
Yeah.
No, it was a different kind of game, one that could be enjoyable, one that could be loved by many and such. So, when a significant company like this that is about to release a big game like Fable Legends closes, it's like, okay, now all this hype is gone. What do we do now?
We had the hype for like 2 or 3 years.
Exactly. Yeah, they've had an open beta or closed beta, whatever it was, for the past year and a half, maybe, right?
Yeah, plus they from the beginning were planning on being it cross-platform with Windows and Xbox One, so that
Yeah.
players could play with each other on different systems. From the beginning, that was the plan.
Yep. And now it's
Yep, it's just gone, which really sucks because Fable 1 and Fable 2 definitely were games I played the absolute hell out of. They were just I had so much fun with them, and I loved playing co-op with some of my friends, even though the co-op cameras were just absolutely horrible. It was so fun.
yeah.
It really blows that they were so far into development too. Like so
It
many
was
man hours,
done.
so much money,
The game
and
was
then just to
done.
not even release it.
Yeah, I mean it was finished. It was ready to be released. It just
It
had to
it was
sort
like
everything out.
yeah, it was like Battlefield 3. Not Battlefield, Battlefront. Different games. Battlefront 3. It was pretty much done. It was like I think they said it was 99% done, and then the studio got closed down.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Unfortunately, but small diversion, but that studio got closed by the studio that's currently doing the Battlefront game. Screw you, E3.
Oh.
Or EA. E3. EA. Whatever.
They're basically the same, am I right, guys?
No, not at all.
They're kinda at this point.
Quiet. Stop.
Cease
Not
and
true.
desist.
Yeah, no, you're cease and desist.
The views of AP are not reflected by the Super Fun people.
I'm Groot, and I approve this message.
All right, we have reached the end of our time. We got people waiting for a meeting, and we have, I'd say, quite efficiently covered all the topics that we were going to cover tonight.
I do have one last thing, and I meant to do this in the Dark Souls section, but I have a small story I did want to share of an invasion I did in Dark Souls when I was messing around with some of the mechanics.
Lay it on us.
That being okay. In one of the areas of the game, it's this swamp area with some like crabs, some giant crabs and such. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna try some invasions. I had the horrible, horrible luck of finding a host with 3 friendly Phantoms helping him. So I was like, oh, well, it's a gank squad. I may die. So what I did was I kind of baited them, lured them in, and started just running around everywhere the swamp. And they didn't see it. I noticed that they weren't really killing some of the bigger enemies. So I had them lure a Black Knight, 2 giant crabs, 3 monsters with like these giant wooden things on their backs, multiple tiny crabs, and 2 human NPC enemies that attack you on sight. They did not know that they were following them, so when I stopped and they started attacking, 2 of them got instant killed by crabs, and the other 2 got absolutely destroyed by everything else.
Crabs, man, they'll get you every time.
It was hilarious, and I am ashamed that I didn't record it. It was the funniest thing ever, because they were like getting ready to cast spells, all of a sudden the crabs grab them, and then they turn around and the Black Knight just slaps the hell out of the freaking host.
Dude, can you imagine how terrifying that would be from their perspective? It's like, oh, we're going to get him. Oh, we got him. He's dead. Ah!
And then I just sit down on the ground, just kind of like, yep, life is good.
Well, that is awesome. And I'm really disappointed you didn't record that too, because I would have loved to have seen that. I would have loved to have put that in the podcast. I would have loved to see that too.
I have recorded a few funny PvP moments, including one where I gotta back off a ledge. But I didn't record that. I'm going to start recording all my invasions from now on.
Yes, please. Stop telling us all these awesome stories I can't put in the podcast. Oh, man. But yeah, anyways, that's awesome.
Yep.
All right, so that's
meeting to attend. So
yeah, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for listening. Do me a favor, if you made it to the end and if you enjoyed this, please, please, please give a thumbs up on that video. Subscribe to the channel so you know when we release new videos, which, by the way, we're going to be releasing a lot of new content, addition to the podcast about different games. And leave a comment. Let us know what you think. We'd love to interact with you and get some feedback on how we can make this a better experience for you. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to find us outside of YouTube, our website is thesuperfunpeople.com, and our Twitter is @superfunpeople. Can't wait to hear from you. Thank you, Ezio and Groot, for joining me.
You're welcome.
Yep. It was fun.
Always fun. All right, but other than that, we will see you next week.